One morning, Jesus and his disciples were walking from Bethany to Jerusalem. The sun had not fully risen. The ground was still cool and the city was yet asleep. That morning, Jesus was hungry. He saw a fig tree and leaf by the road from a distance. The tree looked healthy, its leaves fresh and shiny. This greenery, heralding the arrival of spring, seemed to indicate that the tree had fruit. Jesus approached the tree, pushed aside its branches, looked among the leaves. But there was no fruit. The tree was full of leaves, full of show, but empty of substance. Then he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." His disciples heard him say it. Silence fell. The wind gently shook. The leaves. The tree was still green, but something unseen had changed. The fig tree, not just a plant. In Jewish culture, it is laden with deep symbolism. In Hebrew sacred texts, the fig tree is often a symbol of peace, abundance, and God's blessing. Especially in the Old Testament, the image of each man under his own vine and fig tree expresses the longing for a peaceful, messianic age. Micah 4:4 says, "Everyone will sit under their own vine and under their own fig tree, and no one will make them afraid, for the Lord Almighty has spoken." Thus, the fig tree is associated with hope, security, and fruitfulness, but the fig tree in this story represents the opposite. Outwardly beautiful, inwardly empty, promising life with its green leaves, but offering no fruit. This symbolizes a religious system that looks holy on the outside, but lacks faith and mercy within. In Jesus' time, the Jewish people were waiting for the Messiah. The temple was supposed to be the place where people met God, but it had become a marketplace. Money changers and animal sellers had turned sacred space into a business. Therefore, the fig tree was more than a tree. The curse upon it was a sign against a corrupt religious order. It is no coincidence that the next day Jesus cleans the temple. The gospel sequence is symbolic. First, a tree full of leaves but empty of fruit, then a temple called holy but filled with worldliness. The fig tree declares, appearance is not enough. God looks for fruit. Just like Adam and Eve used fig leaves to cover their shame after sinning. Leaves cover what is shameful, but God looks beyond the covering. If there is no fruit beneath, no matter how green the leaves, the tree can wither from the root. But what about today? What does this passage say to us? Modern Christianity may be in the same danger. Worship may be regular. Churches may be full, words may sound holy, but if there is no fruit, if there is no love, no mercy, no faithfulness, as Paul wrote to the Galatians, the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and faithfulness. Galatians 5:22. Jesus cursing the fig tree was not an act of rage, but a warning. The words that withered the tree still echo through time. God looks not at appearance, but at the heart. The next morning, Jesus and his disciples walked the same road. As they passed by the tree Jesus had cursed the day before, they stopped in shock. The tree had withered from the roots. Yesterday, it was green, glorious. Now it stood like a gray skeleton, silent and dead. Seeing this, Peter said, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree you cursed has withered." Jesus replied, "Have faith in God. Truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go, throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in their heart but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them." Mark 11:22-23. This is no longer just about a tree. Jesus takes the lesson from the fig tree to faith itself, from outward symbols to inner reality. But why did he speak of a mountain, Rabbi? Why shift from a tree to moving mountains? Because the tree was only a signpost, but a mountain represents the greatest obstacles in our lives. Doubts, fears, unbelief. Sometimes those mountains stand in temples, sometimes in our souls, sometimes in our habits. Jesus says, religion without fruit is just leaves, and those leaves can wither forever. But if you have faith, even your words can move mountains. This is not a threat, but an invitation to wounded souls, a call to a fruit-bearing life. The miracle was to show his disciples how to approach God with faith, because now The place where God meets his people is not a stone temple. It is the human heart. And does that heart bear fruit? This story ends with a question that may change your life. What does your life look like? Are your leaves green but you bear no fruit? Are you outwardly religious but inwardly dry? Do you speak beautifully but do not love? Do you not forgive, not show mercy, not give? The words Jesus spoke to the fig tree may now be whispered to you on the wind. Perhaps there is a mountain growing silently in your heart of fear, shame, wounds, and maybe it's time you said to that mountain, go, throw yourself into the sea, because that faith may be in you. Because to bear fruit is not a ritual. It is resurrection, and true resurrection begins in the hidden roots. The fig tree still stands there, dry, leafless, silent. But you are still alive, and God is still calling to your heart, where is your fruit?